you know me, but you don't see the war that's raging inside.
Welcome to MarkovSpeaks, the voice that doesn't stay silent. Here we dive into cinematic psychology, the unveiling of narcissism, spiritual warfare, and, well, the truth behind the masks. The myth of Narcissus. The narcissist, much like the mythical Narcissus, is in love with their own image, yet incapable of true love. In the ancient Greek myth, the handsome youth Narcissus falls in love with his own reflection, dooming himself to a tragic fate. He is condemned to gaze endlessly at the unattainable image, while his life slowly fades away. Today, the word narcissism evokes the same eerie picture. A person consumed with themselves, seeing others as nothing more than mirrors. Behind the charming facade lies an insatiable thirst for attention and admiration, masking a deep inner emptiness. The narcissist is like an actor playing the lead in a one-man show, but forced to remain backstage. Their true self never makes it on stage. They don't love themselves in the true sense. They only love the idealized reflection of themselves, projected onto those around them. Introduction to the documentary. In this documentary, we will look behind the mask of narcissism through three unique perspectives. First, H.G. Tudor, an anonymous author who calls himself an ultra-narcissist and narcissistic psychopath, revealing firsthand the tactics used by his kind. Second, Professor Sam Vaknin, a scholar with a doctorate and author of Malignant Self Love, who also acknowledges being a narcissist and offers a scientific psychological explanation of the phenomenon. Third, The Tea on NPD with Telsha, a popular YouTube channel where a woman who survived narcissistic relationships shares personal experiences and educational insights about narcissistic abuse. These three voices, the predator, Tudor, the researcher-observer, Vaknin, and the victim-turned-educator, Telsha, will build a comprehensive picture. We will explore how each defines narcissism, how they describe the types and traits of narcissists, what victims experience through their lens, and where their perspectives intersect or contradict. This journey promises a dramatic, revealing narrative, both a warning and a revelation about the power of the narcissistic illusion and the cost paid by those caught in its trap. What lies behind the reflection? So what really lies behind the reflection? Narcissism is often confused with healthy self-confidence, but our guides agree that the resemblance is frankly misleading. According to Professor Sam Vaknin, narcissistic personality disorder is a distorted form of self-realization. Paradoxically, the narcissist does not love their true self, but rather the reflection of themselves. Vaknin distinguishes between the true self and the reflected self. The narcissist is in love with this idealized image they project to the world, because deep down, they lack any true sense of self-worth. As he says, the narcissist does not love themselves in the genuine sense. They feed off others. Their only function in the narcissist's world is to reflect, admire, applaud, in short, to confirm their existence. This dependence on external attention isn't just vanity, it's a matter of psychological survival. Without constant reflection from others, the narcissist feels empty, nearly non-existent. H.G. Tudor's perspective. Let's take a look at H.G. Tudor's perspective. He speaks from the dark inner side of the mask and openly admits, he says he is a narcissistic psychopath and that his kind sees people as sources of fuel. That fuel is the emotional energy that keeps their fragile balance intact. Tudor defines himself as an ultra-narcissist, which in his classification means the highest, most predatory type of narcissistic personality. For him, the emotions of others are simply tools. Every compliment, every admiration, even every scream of pain from the victim adds a drop of fuel to the narcissist's tank. This maintains their sense of control and grandiosity. In his world, there is no true empathy, only the logic of a predator that must dominate. As he puts it, he doesn't speak of narcissism in academic terms, but directly and pragmatically. He knows how his kind thinks and shares that knowledge without sugarcoating. Telsha's experience. From her personal experience, Telsha, the creator of the T on NPD, confirms these descriptions, though through the lens of someone who has felt the sharp sting of narcissistic heartlessness. She describes the narcissist as an emotional vampire who feeds on the fears and pains of others, attractive on the surface, but draining the life out of their victims from within. And this isn't just metaphor, it's the literal lived truth of countless victims of narcissistic abuse. The narcissist may appear charming, caring, even noble in public, but Telsha emphasizes that behind closed doors, their true nature emerges. A merciless need for control and recognition, an inability to handle even the slightest criticism, and complete disregard for the feelings of those close to them. All normal human reactions are carefully mimicked behaviors, learned patterns copied from others to conceal the absence of authentic emotion. Vaknin even compares the narcissist to artificial intelligence, seemingly responding like a human, but actually running a program in pursuit of its own goals. Love, compassion, nobility. In the narcissist, these are merely theater, designed to serve their grandiose image. Traits of a narcissist. So how do we recognize the narcissist behind the mask? Our three sources describe a remarkably consistent set of core traits, though in different words. First and foremost is the grandiose sense of self-importance. The narcissist deeply believes they are special, destined for more than ordinary people. They constantly seek excessive admiration and affirmation of their superiority. Vaknin notes, they are often obsessed with fantasies of unlimited success, power, or perfect love. They believe they deserve special treatment and rules that don't apply to others, a sense of innate entitlement. At the same time, as Tudor points out, this arrogant confidence is hollow and deeply fragile. Beneath the surface of self-praise lies deep emotional instability. The narcissist craves control because their inner world is chaotic and hostile. They lack a true, stable core of identity or self-esteem, which is why any disagreement, criticism, or even disobedience from others is perceived as a threat to their very existence. Lack of empathy is another defining trait. They cannot genuinely empathize or put themselves in others' shoes. Vaknin vividly says that the narcissist consumes people, drains their energy, time, love, and then discards them once they no longer serve. Others aren't seen as separate beings with feelings, but as extensions of the narcissist, valued only in how they serve their needs. Different types. Narcissists don't come in one form. They wear many masks and play many roles. Researchers and narcissists, like Vaknin and Tudor, offer different typologies of narcissism that actually complement each other. Professor Vaknin points out the classic division between grandiose, overt, and vulnerable, covert narcissism. The grandiose narcissist is easy to spot. Arrogant, loud, always in the spotlight, openly seeking admiration. The covert narcissist, on the other hand, may appear modest or shy, often plays the role of the victim or misunderstood genius to draw sympathy and attention in more subtle ways. Tudor especially emphasizes this type. He says most narcissists are unaware of their condition, genuinely believing others have wronged them and that they are the eternal victims. In his analyses, Tudor points to public figures who constantly complain and seek sympathy as classic covert narcissists, predators disguised as helpless victims. Cerebral versus somatic narcissists. Another axis Vaknin uses to classify narcissists is cerebral versus somatic. Cerebral narcissists draw their sense of superiority from intellect, achievements, and knowledge. They want to be admired for their genius or professional success. Somatic narcissists, by contrast, are fixated on the body, appearance, sexuality, and material status symbols. Their value comes from beauty, charm, or physical dominance. Both types chase the same thing: a constant stream of attention and admiration. Narcissistic supply, but their methods differ. In one relationship, the narcissist might shine through wit and intellect. In another, they may seduce with sexuality or flaunt wealth and style. Love bombing. Imagine the following story, painfully familiar to thousands who've shared their experiences with narcissists. At first, it feels like a fairy tale. You're showered with attention, compliments, romantic gestures, generosity. This phase is known as love bombing. Telsha describes it as an addictive dopamine rush. You feel adored, special, like your soul is singing. The narcissist seems to read your mind, likes the same things, dreams of the same future, creates the illusion that you finally found the perfect partner. If they're cerebral, they'll impress you with intellect and apparent deep understanding of you. If they're somatic, the passion and chemistry may be dazzling. But this intoxication is not love. It's calculated manipulation. The narcissist is studying you and mirroring your desires to bond you tightly. Vaknin and Tudor note that at this stage, the narcissist subconsciously sniffs out your weaknesses and needs to become exactly what you seek. They are a chameleon, changing color to fit your ideal partner, friend, or savior to ensnare you. Devaluation. Eventually, after weeks or months, the fairy tale begins to crack. The devaluation phase begins. The narcissist, having grown bored or saturated with the initial admiration, begins to show their darker nature. Criticism creeps in, first subtle, then overt. Warmth gives way to coldness. Gaslighting appears. You're made to doubt your memory and sanity. "I never said that. You're imagining things," they claim, after insulting you, convincing you that you misremembered the event. Or they explode in rage over something you never did, and you end up apologizing for their imaginary accusation. It's a terrifying, confusing experience. You love this person, trust them, and suddenly you think, maybe the problem is me. Maybe I'm going crazy. Tudor notes that victims often make the mistake of seeking logic and goodwill where none exist. They try to understand the narcissist through the lens of normal empathy, instead of realizing their mind operates under entirely different rules. And the rule is, I need control, you must obey my reality. The silent treatment. After gaslighting comes another form of emotional abuse, the silent treatment. The narcissist cuts you off from communication. They ignore you for days, weeks, to punish you and put you in your place. Telsha shares how intense the anxiety from this tactic is. The victim starts walking on eggshells, blaming themselves, willing to do anything just to get the narcissist to speak again. This is how the narcissist trains their loved ones, through cycles of harsh detachment and sudden mercy. They make you live in constant fear of disappointing them. Then come the classic role reversals: Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. When you accuse them of hurting you, they first deny it. I never did that. Then attack. How dare you accuse me? You're crazy, ungrateful, paranoid. And finally play the victim, casting you as the abuser. You ruined my mood. You're making me react this way. It's astounding how similarly narcissists act in these situations, as if reading from the same script. Vaknin described this cycle decades ago, and today, it's widely recognized as the narcissistic abuse cycle. Idealization, devaluation, discard. Victims become like addicts, living for rare moments of affection and enduring humiliation, convinced it's their fault. The discard phase. Finally comes the brutal discard phase. When a source of supply is drained, perhaps the partner is depressed, ill, or simply replaced by a fresher victim, the narcissist throws them away without an ounce of remorse. This may be dramatic and loud, fighting, public cheating, being kicked out, or silent and sneaky, disappearing without explanation. In either case, the trauma is immense. Telsha describes the devastation after such abandonment. It shatters your self-worth, leaves you in shame, guilt, and sorrow. And the narcissist? He's already jumped to the next flower, a new source of admiration. often flaunting his new partner publicly, worsening the previous victim's pain. Tudor cynically describes the process. The old partner is archived, while the narcissist drains honey from the next connection. To him, feelings, memories, shared experiences mean nothing. Only his selfish quest for gratification matters. And so, as you may have guessed, the truth is far, far more monstrous. Not neat or polite. And of course, I, Nikolai Markov, will deliver that uncut, uncensored truth in the Nemesis Project. The truth they didn't allow to exist.